Perfect. Brittany,
Well,
let me make sure that I got this right here. Your last
yeah.
name, did I say this correctly? Grenier.
Yeah. Yep.
I got it. I got it. That's so awesome. It's so good to see you. It's been so
Nice to see
long.
you too. I know. I mean, I feel like we've been keeping up with each other, but I haven't actually seen you in person since the day we met.
I know. And do you remember when that was?
Yeah. Was that 2017
It was
now?
2017, and we were on a movie set,
Yeah.
and it was Patriots Day.
I honestly I forgot the name of the movie, but it
Yeah,
was such a cool experience to be there.
it was. It was so surreal too. It was so
Yeah.
surreal to be there and to
Yeah.
be on what they made to be Boylton Street. That
Yep.
was
Mm-hmm.
that was wild. That was wild. And I
Yeah.
remember sitting down next to you, and
Mm-hmm.
for the life of me, I tried to remember the girl's name, the other girl that we met. Do you remember her? Do you
I
remember her
do
name?
not remember. No.
Me neither. And we
Yeah.
followed each other for a while,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I don't know what happened. I know she had a
Yeah.
kid. She also had a child as well.
Yeah.
But I think she might have just kind of fell off the social media game.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
you had a baby.
I did, and you had a baby.
I did. How crazy is that? Right
I
now, forgive me.
know.
Your son's name is
Gabriel.
Gabriel. That's a beautiful name. It's a
Thanks.
beautiful
Thank
name.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how old is he?
He will be 6 months old on March 4th.
Are you loving it?
It's the best thing ever.
It's the
Yeah.
best thing ever. My son's 10 months. He's gonna be
Wow.
he's gonna be 1 in April. So he was
Oh
born
my
four
gosh.
three two one.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. So it's been a wild ride. He is literally my best friend. I don't know what I would do without
Oh,
him.
yeah. Now, was his name Jackson? No?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
That's what I thought. It's a
Man, I
cute
should have
name.
came in prepared with your son's name.
I remembered your son's name actually because it was one of the names that I wanted.
Okay.
But I got shut down.
You
So
did by your
yeah.
husband?
Yeah.
You didn't like it, huh?
Yeah. He was very picky. How hard was it for you guys to settle on a name?
It was hard. So
Yeah.
my wife had a ton of names in her phone, and I had a
Hmm.
ton of names in mine, and we just kept going back to Jackson. It
Yeah.
really just made sense. Now, first I wanted
Hmm.
Christopher. I wanted a junior.
Hmm.
And after about 4 months or 5 months, I was like, I don't want a junior actually. So
Hmm.
we just kept going back to Jackson. And after I saw the ultrasound, because I was only able to do one appointment, and that was the ultrasound because
Yeah.
of everything that was going on with the pandemic. And
Right.
when I saw him, I was like, that that's Jackson. That's totally Jackson.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah. And I'm just loving parenthood. I
Oh,
just
me too.
now Gabriel's a strong name. I love that name.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
my husband and I are Christians, so we both wanted like a biblical name, and we
Yeah.
settled on that. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Now I was listening to your podcast. That's so crazy. I love it. It's called Peace with Pain, right?
Yep. Hmm.
Yep. So Peace with Pain. And how long have you been doing that?
So I it's my pandemic baby outside of
Hmm.
my baby.
Cool.
I was stuck at home, and I think it was April. I just binge watched YouTube videos on how to start your own podcast, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start my own podcast. So um in June it will be 2 years old.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it brings a lot to, if I got this right, it brings a lot of like awareness for mental health. That's what your goal is.
Yeah, so it's a lot of stories about people overcoming various different obstacles in life.
Hmm.
So
That's great. I haven't had a chance to really sit down and listen to a lot of it. I was driving yesterday, and I put it on. I listened to
mhm.
a few different stories. But my wife, I think it was my wife that said it yesterday. She said she loved your voice. Like you just had a great voice
Oh,
for podcasting. So she said that was
thank you.
yeah, she loved that about you on that. So that was pretty cool. So 2 years now, huh?
Yeah, yep. Hmm.
So this for me has been pretty fun. This is episode 2, so awesome.
Woohoo.
I'm so happy
Yay.
you can be here for episode 2. That's so cool. I didn't even know that I wanted to do a podcast until recently. I just
Okay.
decided it wasn't really a pandemic thing. It wasn't really a dream or a goal of mine. I just
Mm,
thought one day I was like, you know what? I love people, I
Mm-hmm.
love hearing people's stories. And I was like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to start a podcast. And it wasn't
Yeah.
for, I don't know, it wasn't really to be big. It's not to be big. It's just to really talk to people,
Yeah.
get back to the social aspect of life. And I like to do that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, same. I mean, I think if you're going into podcasting or any kind of career platform with the intention of becoming big, you're going to be disappointed if you're not doing it because it's a something that you just want to enjoy doing, you know?
Yeah. Is it just you that runs it, or do you have a team?
Just me. Just
Good
me.
for
Yeah.
you.
So thanks. Yeah, I mean, I got a little burnt out there during pregnancy. I don't know what it was like for your wife, but it was really rough for me. And so I've taken quite the hiatus.
Mm,
I have a lot of episodes I need to edit, and I, want to change things around as I'm growing and learning about podcasting and maybe change the vibe a little bit, make it a little bit more happy rather than a lot of the stories are pretty intense, and I don't know, I'd like to have something a little lighter.
yeah, I think that's great. But also remember, there are people out there that want that intense, like intensity,
True.
because they're going
Mhm.
through that. Whatever the story is
Yeah.
that you're talking about at the time, there's somebody out there that can relate always, you know?
True. True, true. Yeah, I guess for me, because my main job is being a mental health therapist, and it's very similar to my day job. So I think having a little bit of a change for me in my hobby would be good, because it's heavy hearing sad stories all day
Yeah.
and then going home and recording a podcast. I wouldn't say my stories are sad. They always end happy. That's the whole point. But as you'll know, I mean, I don't know if you're editing your own show, but hearing a sad story and then having to edit the sad story and hear it again, it's like it's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. I can only imagine. I was not how do I put this? I was not really aware of mental health
Mm-hmm.
growing up. It wasn't really talked about. My friends didn't
Mm-hmm.
never discussed it. It really never came
Yeah.
up, and I started to have more of an appreciation of it like just recently. You know what I mean? Like hearing people's
Mm-hmm.
stories with kind of the way the world went, and listening to
Yeah.
podcasts and things like that. It's more people are more comfortable now sharing their stories. And I
Yeah.
truly didn't know that mental health really existed before. I didn't,
Mm.
because it was never brought up around me ever.
Yeah.
So, it is sad to hear people go through depression and things like that, because everybody has a
Mm.
story. You know what I mean?
100%.
Even the happiest person you think is the happiest person ever, they're pretty sad. Something's going
It's
on
so
with that
true.
person,
So
you know?
true.
And to answer your question, I do have my brother-in-law. He's the guy that really helps me behind the scenes. I don't
That's
think I could do
great.
this by myself right now.
It's a lot.
With work, school, my
Mm-hmm.
son, being married, it's just like
Yeah.
it's a lot for one person to take on. So I tip my
Mm-hmm.
hat to you for that.
Well, that's why I have to take such long breaks. And I like to do my interviews in bulk and then edit as I go,
Yeah.
and then take a break. So I guess I'm entering season 3 now.
Good for you. I
Thanks.
I went into this and I was so excited. My wife would tell you I'm so impulsive, and I just jump on the first opportunity to do something. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think about it, and my
Mm-hmm.
head's in the clouds most of the time. And I was like, I'm gonna do an episode once a week. I'm gonna get somebody on here all the
Mm-hmm.
time, and I'm gonna have so much content. That is like impossible for me.
It's so much more work than it looks like, isn't
Oh
it?
my God, I had no idea. I had no idea. I talked to people and they were like, why don't you just do one once a month? And I'm like, but are people going to forget about me? I'm trying to like make this a thing, And
No.
they're like, no, they won't. Just
Yeah.
do one once a
Mm-hmm.
month and people will still watch it. I mean, if they
Mm-hmm.
don't, that's fine too. But I think
Yeah.
once a month is
Yeah.
perfectly fine.
Yeah. Yeah. You're a lot like me in that you just like you have an idea and you just go for it and you just
Hmm.
like don't overthink it. And And that's like great in a lot of ways, but then you're like, oh shoot, I committed to this.
Oh, I did, man. And you know what's crazy? I have people that are messaging me that want to come on, and I think that's so sweet. I'm like,
Mm,
absolutely, we'll set something up. We'll set something up. People I really
mhm.
haven't even talked to in a long time
Yeah.
that they want to come on. I think that's cool because, like I said, everybody
Yeah.
has a story,
Mm.
so I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and if I could give you any advice about that is
Yes, yes.
you'd be so surprised who would be willing to come on your show. I not that like people wouldn't want to be on your show, but I'm talking like people that um are pretty big or bigger, like I just randomly the other day, by the other day I mean a couple weeks ago,
I do
I
that too.
Instagram DM'd this woman that was on a documentary asking to see if she would be on my show, and she did. And I was like, why are you agreeing to be on my show? Do you know that
Wow.
I have like barely any followers? But she was great. Yeah. So just ask.
That is so cool. So there's a
Mhm.
comedian. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Are you into
Mhm.
comedy at all?
I don't think as much as you. I enjoy it.
Yeah. So there's a comedian I've seen about 4 times with one of my
Hmm.
best friends. Every time he comes to East Providence, we go. His name is Pete
Hmm.
Corielli. I don't know
Hmm.
if you ever heard of him, but really, really funny comedian. He worked on shows like Kevin Can Wait with Kevin James, and I've seen his stand up. The first time I saw it, it was called The Things We Do for Love. It was on Comedy Central years ago,
Hmm.
and it takes a lot for me to laugh, like hold my belly laugh. And this guy was it for me. I'm like, this guy is so
Awesome.
funny, man. Like, I hope he blows up. I hope he
Hmm.
becomes somebody someday. And he really did. So every time he comes to town, we try to score tickets to go see him. When I was drinking, I would meet him at the bar
Hmm.
across from the club that he was performing at, and I would buy him drinks and we would talk and things like that. And I really thought about DMing him and being
Mm.
like, hey,
Hmm.
man, I've seen you like this many times. We've had a couple beers together. Do you think you can come on my podcast and just shoot the shit for like a
Hmm.
few minutes, like 25, 30 minutes? I'll
Yep.
have questions prepared, and I thought, why not give it a shot? I haven't done it yet because I've been a little
Hmm.
nervous to do it because nobody wants to get shot down. But you're right. Why not give it a
Yeah.
shot? So I think I'm going to do that.
Right.
I think you just gave me the courage to go ahead and give it a try.
Honestly, yeah, like for me, I waited a year to ask her, and she was like, I can't believe you waited that long. And I was like, what? I wanted to get established, have like my Instagram look nice and
Yeah.
have a lot of good episodes under my belt to have something to show her to make her feel like, okay, this is worth going on. Um, but as it turns out, she would have gone on anyway. So yeah, go for it. What if he just says no? Who cares?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it. I think I'm gonna message him and just see what he says. And if he reads
Yeah.
it and ignores it, then that's cool too, you know.
Right. Right.
Now, I did a little bit of not snooping, but I haven't, I looked at your Facebook page and stuff because I
Yeah,
wanted to get some information, from you
sure.
because it's been a long time
Hmm.
since we've
It has.
we've really chatted. Now, you used to do plays. Did I see that right? You did some
Yeah.
on stage stuff?
Yeah, I love theater so much. It's such a bummer. So many community theaters have been shut down
I
because,
know.
you can't keep up with the pandemic and everything.
I know it is a bummer. Now, how long were
Mm-hmm.
you doing that for? Did it start from like an early age or?
It's hard to say because I loved it since I was a kid, and I did plays when I was like in I think my first show was third grade. Um, but there was a huge gap of time between third grade and my next show, and I really started getting more consistent with it after I graduated college. And I was like in a show like every 6 months or something. And then, the pandemic hit. Oh, I started grad school, the pandemic hit. It was just,
Yeah.
impossible. So
I did
been
my
a while.
first play in 2018, and it was a mafia play, and it was called
Oh,
Many Sides
awesome.
to the Reaper. It's pretty cool. A friend of mine, Nick
Yeah.
Albanese, he saw a documentary on a real vicious mob guy,
Hmm.
but he tweaked it. He tweaked it,
Yep.
with his own names and this and that.
Hmm.
And he messaged me one day and he says, "Do you think you can come audition for the part of Ricky?" And I
Mm.
was so nervous. I'm like, man, I haven't never done a play. I'm like, but I really like Nick Albanese. He's a great guy,
Hmm.
So I'm like, this is a great opportunity to work with this guy. So
Mm.
I went and I auditioned, and I guess he liked me enough to give me the role. And it was literally the best time of my life. It was so fun. We did
So
12
fun.
shows. Oh, as
Yeah.
soon as I walked out on that stage, I felt like I
Mm-hmm.
was born to do this, man. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm in my element, But that's the only play I ever did.
I'm surprised because to me, there's such a high to doing a play. And I know that you like to do film, which is great too, but you get the immediate reaction from the audience when you're
A
on
rushed.
stage.
Yeah, such a rush.
Yeah.
Well, I think for me, honestly, I think with everybody's lives are so different too. I think for me, it was
Yeah,
really scheduling and work. And
it's true.
when I did this play, I worked at a job where my schedule was not consistent, and it was just so up and down that I'm like, oh, can you work for me on this day? I got to do this. Can you work for me on this day, or can we switch?
Hmm.
It was really tough. And now I have weekends off and things like that. But
Yeah.
I loved it. What do they call it? They call it getting bit by the bug. Is that what they call it? Is that how they
Yeah,
say it?
something like that. Yeah, it's easy to get addicted, but you're right. I mean, now that you have a kid too, it's especially hard to do anything extra.
It's hard. It's hard, man. And I totally want to do film. I actually myself,
Mm.
I'm putting the acting kind of aside right now. And
Yeah.
I have for a while. I want to make
Hmm.
my own films. I have a script that I wrote. I have a second
Hmm.
script that's kind of in the works that I've been writing.
Hmm.
It's not really a huge thing yet. And
Hmm.
I learned my lesson by not promoting it so fast because
Hmm.
I get so excited, and there I go with the being impulsive again. And I share it to
Hmm.
social media, and my friends and family go bananas, and then you don't hear from me. And it really it took me so long to realize I have to stop doing that. You know what I mean? Like I promised films, I promised music videos, and
Hmm.
they haven't come out because my life is so busy sometimes. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
just have to kind of take a step back and go, like, do it and then promote
Hmm.
it. That's what I have to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Yeah. I learned that with the podcast too, because I put out there that I was gonna do it, and it was almost a good thing though, because I was like, oh shoot, I told everyone my first episode was gonna come out in June.
Yeah.
Then I moved to a new house and I recorded an entire episode, and when I went to go edit it, the sound quality was just horrible, and I had to go back and do the entire interview again. Oh man. So it was more of a rush. My first episode was not like the quality that I wanted it to be. And I think the first interview that I had done with that person was, like my preferred interview. But
Oh yeah.
you gotta start somewhere, right?
We know all about technical difficulties. Let me tell you. I mean, I also make it a habit of trying to get things together the night before, which my wife
Mm.
hates. Like I'm down here like, why is the camera upside down? I don't understand. Like last night, it was like four
Mhm.
times the camera's the way it was perfectly
Yeah.
fine, but the picture's upside down. I'm like, I don't get it. And then we're testing with my buddy Mike, and it's like first he can hear us, now he can't hear us, and then the camera's upside down. I'm like, this is not
Mhm.
happening right now. I'm filming tomorrow with Brittany. This is just not happening. It's such a pain in the butt. But people don't
Yeah.
know, man. There's a lot of struggle that goes behind the
Oh
scenes.
yeah.
All
Oh
right.
yeah.
People need to
Oh, I
know that,
know. For
you know.
sure. Especially like you said, you're working, you're going to school, and so you have like a limited time frame where you can make this work, and God forbid if something comes up.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I love doing this podcast. It's probably one of the
Mm.
best decisions I made. It's so fun to
Mm.
do. Like you catch
Hmm.
up with people. I haven't talked to you. Well, we've
I
talked to each other,
know.
right? We've
Yeah.
talked to each other on social media,
Right.
but we haven't talked to you in I haven't talked to you in I don't know, since 2017, like really seen
Yeah.
you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And we
It's
became
really neat.
friends by chance. We sat
Hmm.
next to each other
Hmm.
at this movie set, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy because I remember a lot of our conversations from that one day, and where you're talking about your girlfriend and your dad. Oh, it is now your wife now.
Yeah.
Your the dog that you had, and like
My God,
uh,
Callie.
y-
That was my
yeah.
dog. Yeah. We don't
Yeah.
have Callie no more.
I know. I remember
Woo.
you talking about that. That was a nightmare, it sounds like.
God, she was so much. It just wasn't a good fit. I
Yeah.
love
Yeah.
dogs and I love
Mhm.
animals, but sometimes
Mhm.
some pets just not a good fit for the family. But I did
Yeah.
find out she's with another dog, and
Good.
it worked out better
Yeah.
that way, you know.
It's sad when that happens, but it's one of the unfortunate things that you can't particularly like prepare or really know about before you just bring them into your home and find out what happens.
Oh gosh, yeah. She was a terror, man. She was a terror, and
Mm,
I'm happy that she's happy now. But
mm,
you know, it's like our kids, right? Like our kids
mm,
are the best, but they're
mm.
gonna get older. They're probably gonna get mouthy and defiant, and we can't just, you
Yeah.
know what, go
Hmm.
with this family. You know what I mean? We gotta stick
I
it out because
know, right?
that's our babies. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
you get to a
Yeah.
point sometimes with a pet where it's kind of like this
Hmm.
isn't working. Really, the dog was coming in between me and my wife. It was like this dog was just too much.
Hmm.
It was
Hmm.
just too much. Do you have any pets?
Yeah, we have a dog and two cats.
Nice,
So,
nice.
yeah.
I'm not a cat person.
See, you say that, but do you have any cats?
No,
Okay, well then you don't know that. You
but I
haven't
know
met
people that
my.
have cats.
Okay, but it's not the same. Okay, well let me ask you this. Before you
Okay.
had a kid,
Yeah,
right?
I love them.
Could you understand how much you were going to love your kid before you met him?
No,
Exactly.
no, I couldn't even fathom that I would love them this much.
Same. It's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah.
Hmm.
And like the protection is so real. Like
Hmm.
I'm like daddy bear. You know what I mean? Like no,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
you ever see that video of like the people holding their kids or like a dog or something? They go, "This is my baby." You ever see those
Yeah.
videos? Like that's me. Like this
Yeah.
is my baby. You mess with him, you
Hmm.
mess with me. Like
Yeah.
that's me to Jackson. That's my little dude. So we
Uh,
have so the podcast really is gonna be like 25 to 30 minutes. So there is only
sure.
a few minutes left to record,
Yeah.
but you're more than welcome to want to chat more if you want to. I just want you to know that.
Yeah, no, I think it's great that you have it timed. I wish I was a little bit more strict on that with my podcast because every episode is a completely different length. But yeah, no, it's fine with me. I'm at my parents' house right now and they're watching the kiddo, so
Cool, cool.
uh, it makes sense for it to be shorter. Actually, I do appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. I figured I'd give you a heads up. I do know you got your son. So,
Yeah,
and I'm actually shocked that my son did not scream during this whole thing. So that is like
that's
fantastic. You
yeah,
know?
that's great.
Yeah. But I would, I want to thank you so much for talking with me. And I know that it was short. God, we could have kept going for real, but,
I
um,
know.
I want to thank you so much for talking to me because it's just I don't know, it's just like a breath of fresh air to see how everybody's
Mm,
doing and like look at you
mm,
now. You're married, like I'm married, you have a baby, I have a baby. Life just
so
changes, you
crazy.
know. So I just
Yeah,
want to go ahead and I want to go ahead and thank you for coming on. I'm going to go ahead and put your information, the Peace with
sure.
Pain, at the end
Yeah,
of the podcast so people go ahead and give
great.
you a follow, okay?
Yeah, that sounds great. And I mean, I'd love to have you on my show sometime if you're open to it.
I would absolutely love that. I would absolutely
Great.
love that.
Great. We'll schedule something.
All right, cool. Well, thank you so much,
All right.
Brittany. Everybody listening, go ahead and check out Peace with Pain with Brittany Grenier.
Thank you, Chris. We'll be in touch.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
All right, bye bye.